Joseph Healy. I'm the Chief Executive of a small bank in Australia called Judo Bank. I'm also an adjunct professor at the University of Queensland, and I have been very passionate about Chinese businesses for a number of years. And recently I wrote a book on Chinese businesses going into the global economy. I've been working with Chinese businesses for a number of years. I'm a career banker, and in recent times there has been a significant increase in the number of Chinese businesses going to international markets. And I was very interested in this phenomena, and I wanted to better understand the success and what Chinese firms had to do to be more successful in the global economy. So I started researching the book when I was at 1 year. I took 1 year off in 2015 to study at the University of Nottingham in Ningbo to do a MA in Contemporary Chinese Studies. I did a lot of research then on Chinese businesses. Well, I'd been always interested in China's role in the world. I read a lot of books that had been written, mainly books written by Western writers. And of course, obviously watching the reporting on China in newspapers like The Economist and the Financial Times, it's quite obvious that China and Chinese businesses are playing a much more important role in the world than they were, say, 10 years ago. Well, I think there's two parts to that answer. I think the business community welcomes Chinese involvement and sees great opportunities to work closely with Chinese businesses. On the other hand, the political environment is not always as supportive of China as it should be. So in the West, and we're seeing it today with the US and China trade dispute, sometimes the political parties in the West are not reflective of the business community's support for China and the growing involvement of Chinese businesses in the global economy. I think the West mainly finds Chinese culture complex. That is largely because people don't understand Chinese culture. When I went to, one of the reasons why I went to study in Nottingham, in Ningbo, was I really wanted to have a deep understanding of Chinese culture and of Chinese history. Because I think when you understand the history of a country and you understand its culture, you have a much better view of what motivates and how things work and how people think. Now, in the West, the West is not as familiar with Chinese culture as it needs to become, because understanding culture helps understand a lot about a country and about a people. Yes, very, very much so. I mean, Chinese language, both written and oral language, for most Western people is very complicated. So ways in which it is made, translation is made easier, and more literature on China is translated into English, for example, then this will help people better understand China. Well, I think it's important to continue to demonstrate the rich culture that China has. So many people in the West think about China in a contemporary sense, and they think about a fast-growing China. They mix politics too. They view the political system and philosophy, which is foreign to many foreigners. They tend to be influenced by prejudices they have against the political system. This is unfortunate, and it's an opportunity for Chinese literature to better demonstrate that China has such a rich and diverse history, and it has a lot to offer. Culturally, has a lot to offer the world. It's very pleasing to see the way that the Confucian institutes in many parts of the world are working closely with the universities, helping to demonstrate to the world that there is a deep, deep history of many thousands of years that China has that many countries don't have. I think it's a very good program because, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's very important that China institutes a proactive step to encourage foreign writers to write on all aspects of China in a measured and balanced way. That is very important, and so encouraging foreign writers to write on China is a very intelligent and very exciting project. Well, I think that's a very good question. When you're writing something, you have to, first of all, remind yourself of who your audience is. Because there's a difference between writing for academic audience or writing for general public.
Yeah.
So understanding who the audience is very important. And then making the writing accessible to people, so that people understand the context. I think one of the most important things about writing about China is to understand the context in which modern China exists. And that context, as I mentioned, involves a deep history, a very unique and distinctive culture, and an ambition to be a major citizen in the global economy. And the more writers of a high quality who think about the audience, then that is only a very positive thing. There is not enough literature written by people who really understand China, by Western or foreign people who understand China. There is not enough being done. So I think the more there is to be done, the better, and that's a very positive development. Well, I think Western readers will be interested in, I think, the culture of China, the growth of a very unique nation. I mean, China is unlike any other nation in the world. It is a civilization nation. You know, when you think about countries like America or countries like Australia, these are countries that really, in the modern form, only existed over the last 300 years. And so when you look at a nation like China, which goes back thousands of years, helping to explain that to people, I think, is an important thing. Also, the art, the soft, what I call the soft power, the role that China could play internationally beyond just commerce. I think education, for example, is very important. There's lots of Chinese students studying in the West, and that is good. But it'd be a good thing to have more foreign students studying in the major Chinese universities, because that then helps build a deeper understanding of each other. I mean, China has changed so much over the last 20, 30 years. It has embraced a lot of Western habits and customs and fashions because of the modern world we live in, but it also has retained a very strong sense of its history and its unique culture. And I think it's the mix of old and new. I mean, this is a country that is growing so fast, is growing more prosperous so fast. More Chinese people are leaving on holidays, on taking vacation all over the world. The country that I live in, Australia, has seen a significant growth in Chinese people studying and living there. And it's been very, very positive. But not enough is done to explain to Western civilization, Western people, the culture, history of China. And so the more that could be done, the better. Well, first of all, I think the One Belt Initiative is a significant regional and potentially global infrastructure investment that will help modernize the transportation and links between different countries. It is only positive, and it is the single biggest strategic investment being made in the world, probably since the Marshall Plan after the Second World War. And so China's leadership in doing it with this initiative is significant. It's an opportunity for China to demonstrate its expertise in infrastructure, and it's also an opportunity for businesses, both Chinese and foreign businesses, to participate and benefit in this major infrastructure investment. It opens up a whole new exciting set of opportunities for the future.